Welcome to Fake It Till You Make It, the podcast where my guests have no idea what they're talking about. My name is Dan, and I am your host. Today, we have a frequent open mic podcast guest, Lucy. Fun fact about Lucy: she's not a lawyer, but for the purposes of this episode, she is. Hello, Lucy.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, as just mentioned in the intro, you're a lawyer. What's
Yeah.
that like?
Oh, it's really great, to be honest. I love being in court. I love talking to people, and I love criminals.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, just I guess kind of shout out. What's the name of your law firm?
Oh, my law firm is Good Criminals, Bad Cases.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So when we were talking before filming this episode, you said that you came to America to study law and stuff like that. What
Yeah.
law school did you go to?
I went to Harvard, actually, which
Oh.
is, I know it's not specifically a law school, but they do have a fantastic law course there.
Mm.
So I thought, it's one of the best of the best. It's one of the top colleges in the US. I did get into it, so I thought, you know what, why not?
Mhm.
So
Where is
I'm
Harvard again?
oh, it's on the East Coast.
Uh-huh.
You should know that.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
know.
What state? Do you remember?
New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just kidding,
um,
obviously.
oh yeah. Wait. What state is Harvard in? Yeah.
Alaska.
Ah.
Yeah,
Totally.
you know this. You know this now.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah.
where Harvard is.
Totally.
You
Uh-huh.
know where.
Sure. So, what was the hardest part of studying to become a lawyer?
Honestly, I'm gonna say it. The gym at the college was so distracting. I would always go to the gym, so I never did my homework.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
And there
like,
were so many texts to read on the
okay.
actual course, if that's what you mean. There were so
Can
many
can
texts to read.
can you name any of those texts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
The law text of law.
Okay. What
Yeah.
was, speaking of tech, what was your favorite book to read while studying to be a lawyer?
Pico's Book of Illegalities.
All right. Yeah. So on the other end, what was your favorite part of studying at Harvard to become a lawyer?
Honestly, the friends you make along the way, truly, they are the best people I've
Hmm.
met. They're all very lawyery,
Hmm.
very legal people.
Yeah. Do you work with any of them
Yeah.
now?
Not anymore,
Not
sadly. We
anymore.
don't see each other anymore,
Oh,
no. Because I've come back to Europe. Uh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you are currently in the UK for you're practicing law.
Yes.
But so we're
Yes.
gonna go with both here. What's your favorite American law?
Oh. You have the right to remain silent is my favorite law. You don't have to tell anyone anything.
Mm.
Um, But I do also love that you guys have like a law about jaywalking. That one's pretty funny to me.
Okay. All right. And
Yeah.
then what's your favorite law in the UK?
Oh, my favorite law in the UK is that it's illegal to hunt swans,
Okay.
and you get arrested if you do that because I would say they're all property of the Queen, but I guess they're owned by the King now.
Mm.
Um, so there's your funky piece of UK law trivia because I know
Hmm.
all about the legal system here. You
Yeah.
probably don't because you're not a lawyer.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's a new. It's also you can't do treason against the
Hmm.
royal family.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cool. All right. Yeah. So before we get into some of our general questions,
yeah,
I this might have been something I asked at the beginning, but what is it? Describe what it's like being like. What do you do every day as a lawyer? What's your day-to-day schedule
Well,
like?
a lot of my day I'm reading up on what my clients have been up to. I like to find out about their lives and about everyone else involved. It's very important to get all the facts in a case. I have to find out, is the person I'm defending actually guilty, or are they being falsely accused? So I spend a lot of time asking a lot of questions, I think, and then also spending a lot of time researching the people that are on the jury as well. So I know kind of what to say to to swing them in my favor, because
Okay.
I like to know what they want to hear.
Sure. Cool. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So just let's keep going with some questions then. I want all the details, so I want it to be as detailed as possible. Tell me about your hardest court case to win. Like, what was it? Why was it difficult? Did
Ooh.
you like? How did you win it?
Well, this one guy tried suing SeaWorld because he got his leg bitten off by an alligator.
Okay.
And honestly, it was a tough one, right?
Mhm.
Because I was on SeaWorld's side. And there's not really a lot you can do when an alligator bites off a guy's leg. You can't really be like, So it was a very tricky one, but in the end, I did have to, you know, plant a little bit of evidence and kind of make it very clear there was a sign that stated, "Do not go near this pond. There are alligators." You know what Florida's like. So this guy, it was clearly his own fault that the alligator bit his leg off, and SeaWorld did not get sued in the end.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
there we go. Yeah.
Cool.
What about you?
All right. Totally. Now,
Just kidding, because you're
anyways,
not a lawyer. You
uh,
wouldn't know.
now this question is more of a fun one. But as a lawyer, do you personally know Judge Judy?
No, to be honest,
Hmm.
I don't.
Would you like to know Judge Judy?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm sure she's a grumpy being.
Hmm. All right. So, overall, what type of cases do you manage?
Honestly, anything. I'm a bit of an all-rounder. Generally, I like to work with people who need the help most, people who are really, they deserve it. So often it will be big companies like SeaWorld. They really need the support. So,
Hmm.
so yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
anyone that puts money in my pocket as well.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing.
Hmm.
Which we're all thinking it, so I may as well say it.
Hmm. So who's your typical client then? Would you say
Um, Rich men in suits.
Richmond in suits?
Yeah, they really
Okay.
need the help.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, just for some fun, let's go over some questions that would be asked on the bar exam. You know what the bar exam is, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
I passed that
So,
with flying colours.
sure. Yeah. All right. Um. Let's just go ahead. So at a metro station in the city, there is always
Mm,
significant construction going on, including a rebuild of the elevator shaft between the platform and the ground level. There is a
yeah.
sign warning this elevator is not available at this time. Please do not ride it. A passenger sees the sign, but tries to ride the elevator anyways, and is injured when she falls into the shaft. When the passenger sues the city for negligence, the city states that she assumed the risk. Is that a valid and accurate defense under the circumstances?
Yes, I would say so, because it just said do not use it. Didn't say you're going to be injured if you use it.
Hmm.
She didn't
Interesting.
follow the instructions, so really it's her fault.
Hmm.
And that's her problem. She should have followed the rules and
Hmm.
improved.
So do you think there's any issue that caused by the fact that they didn't say there was any danger, but they just said don't use the elevator?
Well, they don't need to give a reason that there will be danger if you use it. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously it's good if they do, but generally people shouldn't be using the elevator in the first place. You shouldn't have to be threatened with fear of injury or death just to not use something.
Hmm.
People need to learn to obey signs and follow rules.
Okay.
I'm big on rules
Sure.
because I'm a lawyer.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a few more. Okay.
All
So,
right.
in this scenario, a painter working for a construction company was working with a group of construction co-workers on a house construction when a section of the house fell down on the owner. The painter declared, "I knew they should have reinforced the standing wall better than they did. It is all their fault." It turned out that he was referring to co-workers employed by the same construction company. The owner filed suit for damages against the construction business. He tried to put the statement from the painter into evidence, but the defendant objected. Will the court sustain the company's objection to the admission of the painter's statements?
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's not the painter's fault, is it?
Mhm.
The painter is not the guy who's meant to do the construction. He's allowed to have his opinion, but he's not a qualified professional like the construction workers are.
Mhm.
So
So you're
really,
saying the court will throw away that evidence?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Because he's not qualified?
yes. It's not his job, and it would probably be unsafe for him to try and give unsolicited advice to the professionals.
All right.
So,
Yeah, thank you. Let's go ahead and do another one. We're on a roll here.
all right.
Yeah. So, a retailer agreed to purchase an orchard's total cherry production for a 12-month period. The contract included this provision. Terms: cash upon delivery, deliveries to be made at least twice per month. The deliveries went as scheduled. At the beginning of the 5th month, the orchard sent notice to the retailer that a load of cherries was ready for pickup. The truck driver, however, forgot to take the retailer's check with him. The orchard turned over the cherries but advised the retailer to pay within 3 days. The retailer sent the check by mail, but it arrived late by 2 days. The orchard refused to deliver any more cherries. The retailer sued the orchard for breach of the installment contract and demanded the difference in price between the cherries on the open market and what he would have paid under the contract. The orchard claims that the delayed payment impaired the value of the contract and moves to dismiss. Will the court grant the orchard's motion to dismiss?
Yes, the court will grant the orchard's motion to dismiss because the retailer clearly breached their end of the deal first, and the orchard, I believe, was very lenient in saying it's okay, we'll still give you the cherries. They let them off and said, yeah, within 3 days, but then they didn't follow through with that. So that's twice they've been let down. So I think it's very justifiable for the cherry people to terminate the contract.
Okay.
Because it was not met from the other end of the deal. Yeah.
And do you remember what law that's under?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Petrostone law.
Okay. And what is the Petrostone law?
The law that says if one party can't uphold their end of the agreement, then the other party is not obliged to follow through with it.
All right. Well, thank you. How about one
very
more
welcome.
bar question?
Sure.
All right. Last
I'm on a roll.
last one.
I hope you're learning lots here.
There are two companies, a construction company and a landscaping firm. Got into a contract dispute over the nature of landscaping services that had to be provided to the construction company. The landscaping firm was incorporated in New York and did all of its business in that state. The construction company was an LLC that had been filed in New York, with its members being domiciled in Pennsylvania, Vermont, and Virginia. The landscaping firm filed a breach of contract claim in federal court in New York State claiming diversity jurisdiction with an amount in dispute that was in excess of $100,000. The construction firm filed a motion to dismiss, claiming the landscaper plaintiff did not have diversity jurisdiction. Will the court likely grant this motion to dismiss?
No, because they don't have diversity jurisdiction, so obviously, they shouldn't do it.
No, they won't dismiss it, or no,
Yeah, they'll dismiss it.
they'll dismiss it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for going through that little bar trivia with us. If there
Yeah,
are any
yeah,
future
just
lawyers studying,
the
hopefully that
basics.
helped.
First year stuff, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, just a few other random questions before we conclude
Sure.
this. This is kind of about here. We've got a few things about like estate planning now. Under what conditions do you recommend a living trust?
If the family is on a good income, if they're able to make some money to feed the family, obviously they should move into the area. Um, Otherwise, it's probably not worth them doing.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right.
It's not that interesting. That's the standard practice, really.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, what's your opinion on the probate process?
It's a controversial one,
Mm-hmm.
but generally I would say it makes a lot of sense. Very probatey, and it's important to some people, so I can understand why it's a hot topic at the moment. But at the same time, it's a tricky one because yeah.
All right, cool. Now, before we end this episode, one last a few overall questions, but one big one.
Yeah.
What's your approach to winning a case?
Having a better knowledge of the law than my opponent, the opposition.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm very well trained in everything legal. I know the law inside out, all the different clauses and all that. So it's very easy for me to understand where my opposition are going to slip up. I like to lay traps for them so that they clearly admit their guilt, or admit my client's innocence. So it's very, very easy for me to win a case, and I tend to win all my cases because I have a college education from Harvard.
Interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Do you have anything else you want to say about the lawyer profession?
Yeah, I just want to say, lawyers, it's a tough job. We need to be paid more. And I hope that I'm an inspiration to all the young girls out there wanting to become lawyers one day. You can do it if you believe in yourself. Just keep studying hard, and one day you could be a lawyer like me.
Well, cool. Thanks for joining us. All right. Lucy, you've made it. You've made it through the questions. How do you feel?
Am I allowed to?
Yeah, I don't know if this is something I'll include or not. Yeah, you're not a lawyer anymore. Everyone knows you're not a lawyer.
Ah!
How do you think you did?
I was so bad. I tried my best, right? So when you said lawyer, I was like, great, because I've recently been reading this book where they go to court.
Oh.
So I was like, I can use some of my knowledge from that. And then you start asking me about like the I don't know what kind of agreements you were going on about. I was like, what? So I was making stuff up. When you asked me what the names of things were, I was looking around my room. I was like, the alligator thing, I've got Harvey Jr. next to me. Something about, I said something was like the Shiko something or other. I was like, okay, I can't just say Trico, which is the Pokemon plush that I have opposite me. I said the Shiko, and then the Petstone agreement was me looking over at my picture of Nico Rosberg, who has some sponsors written on his race suit, and I just merged two sponsors there to form that word. So That was so scary. And I kind of want to know what the actual answers to those questions were because
Oh,
I
you
was
got
making stuff
everyone
up.
wrong. Um,
Every single one?
yeah. I was just on a random website with practice questions, but it was like whenever you said
No!
yes, it was no, and so on.
Ah!
Which to be fair, those are hard questions.
Where?
Like,
Wait. I have the most important question of all.
mhm.
Where is Harvard?
I don't know. It's not in Alaska. I think it is
No,
close.
I
It's
was
close.
joking.
It's in Massachusetts.
Ah,
Yeah.
see, I said New York, and then thought, no, it's not New York. So I tried playing it off by joking, like, for
Mm.
example, where's Big Ben? Oh, it's in South Africa.
Mm.
I was trying to joke like that,
Sure.
but I couldn't pull it off.
Yeah. All right.
Where is Harvard? I couldn't think of any other colleges in the US.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Oh, it is in Massachusetts. You're right.
thanks for doing this. And can you confirm you had no idea what I was going to be asking you, what I was going to be asking
I
you
had
about?
no idea. In fact, I actually filmed my reaction and sent it to you
Oh,
on WhatsApp.
okay.
Which should be coming through now when you said lawyer. So you can see my genuine and honest reaction. I had absolutely no idea that would be the topic.
Mm.
So there we go.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for doing this. And thank you all for listening to Fake It Till You Make It. Fake It Till You Make It is owned and produced by Open Mic Podcast. If you like Fake It Till You Make It and want to see more episodes, or if you like Fake It Till You Make It and want to see what else we have to offer, subscribe to Open Mic Podcast on YouTube and follow Open Mic Podcast on Spotify and Instagram. Come back next Monday for the next episode of Fake It Till You Make It, but come back tomorrow for the first episode of Listen to Reality, the podcast that's also a reality show. Thanks for listening.